All right, let's get right into it. When people fail at something high stakes, like trading, we tend to think it's just bad luck, a random, bad call. But here's the thing. Failure, especially the kind that happens over and over, is almost never random. It actually follows a very clear, very predictable, and honestly a pretty devastating pattern.
And that quote really gets to the heart of what we're talking about. This isn't about someone not knowing enough about the market or not having the right indicators. It's about getting caught in the same behavioral traps again and again until it's too late.
So what we're going to do is map out this hidden downward spiral. And the key thing to understand is that this spiral doesn't start in the market, it starts deep inside our own heads. It's all about psychology. And once you see the pattern, you can actually start to break it.
Okay, so where does it all begin? It kicks off with this first, and by far, most critical mistake. This isn't just one error on a list, it's the foundational one. It's the crack in the foundation that makes the whole building unstable and makes all the other mistakes pretty much inevitable.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, you have reactive trading. That's really just a fancy word for gambling. Your decisions are being driven by whatever you're feeling in the moment. Fear, greed, you name it. But on the right, you have planned trading. This is where your smart, rational self makes the decisions before the chaos and emotion of the market has a chance to mess with your head.
And here's the fix. It's not some crazy complicated secret. It's just a disciplined checklist. 7 simple points that you write down before you ever start a session. If you can't fill this out, you simply don't trade. Think of this little document as your shield against your own worst impulses.
But here's where it gets tricky. Because even if you have a plan, some really powerful emotions can come in and completely hijack it. This is where that downward spiral really starts to gain speed, and it's all driven by one of the most powerful biases hardwired into the human brain.
This idea, loss aversion, is a huge deal. I mean, it's Nobel Prize-winning stuff. It's not a personality flaw, it's just how our brains are built. The pain of losing something feels about twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining the exact same thing.
And this chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. Look at that. The pleasure you get from a $100 gain is nice, sure, but the pain from a $100 loss, it's twice as intense. That little imbalance has massive, and I mean massive consequences for how you make decisions under pressure.
So what does this do to us in the real world? Well, it leads to this disastrous behavior. Because the pain of taking a loss is so intense, we'll do anything to avoid it. So we hold on to losing trades, just hoping and praying they'll turn around. At the same time, we're so eager to lock in that little bit of pleasure from a win that we sell our winners way too early. It's the exact opposite of what you should be doing, and it's all driven by our brain's wiring.
Now, that intense pain from taking a loss, it doesn't just vanish. It has to go somewhere, right? And that's what triggers the very next mistake in the pattern, what we call revenge trading. This isn't a calculated move. It's an emotional outburst. It's you lashing out because you feel like the market just personally attacked you. And here's the thing you really have to understand. Revenge trading isn't really about getting the money back. It's about your ego. A loss feels like a threat to your identity, like it's questioning if you're smart or competent. So that frantic storm of trades that follows, that's just a desperate attempt to prove yourself right and get that feeling of control back.
So how do you stop yourself when you're in that emotional state? You can't rely on willpower. You need a system, a mandatory circuit breaker. After any loss, no exceptions, you follow these steps. You close everything down and you walk away. It's a structure that protects you from yourself when you're compromised.
Okay, we've talked a ton about losing, but, and this is kind of a paradox, the fourth mistake in the pattern is actually born from winning. Believe it or not, a winning streak can be one of the most dangerous things that can happen to you, especially when you're starting out.
It all comes down to a classic cognitive bias you've probably heard of called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Basically, after a few wins in a row, you start to feel like you've got it all figured out. You feel invincible. Your confidence shoots through the roof, but your actual measurable competence hasn't changed at all. And that gap, that huge gap between how good you feel and how good you are, is a minefield.
And this slide just nails the difference. See, confidence is just a feeling. It's fragile, it's subjective, and it's based on your last few outcomes. Competence, on the other hand, is built on cold, hard data from your actual performance. Professionals operate from competence. Amateurs get tossed around on the emotional roller coaster of confidence.
So this brings us to the final mistake. And honestly, this might be the most important one, because it's the mistake that allows all the others to just keep happening in the dark. It's the choice to neglect the single most powerful tool you have for exposing these patterns, your journal.
So, do any of these sound a little too familiar? A journal is basically a mirror, and a lot of people avoid looking in it because they're afraid of what they'll see. But here's the deal. Relying on your memory is a recipe for failure. Your memory is biased. Data is not. So not keeping a journal isn't really a time management issue. It's an honesty issue.
And the fix is so simple. We're talking 3 minutes after every single trade. That's it. Just 5 little data points. The reason for the trade, the prices, did you follow your plan, how you felt, and one lesson. If you do this, you will build a database of your own behavior, and you will finally see the patterns and be able to fix them.
So let's just step back and look at the whole spiral, right? It all starts with no plan. That opens the door for your emotions to take over. Then the pain of a loss causes you to mismanage your traits. That pain then fuels revenge trading. If you get lucky and win, that success breeds a false confidence. And the whole time, not keeping a journal ensures you never learn the lesson and the cycle just repeats. And this is probably the most important thing to take away from all of this. Fixing these problems has absolutely nothing to do with finding a new magic strategy. It has everything to do with building a new system for yourself, a structure of rules and protocols designed to protect you from your own worst impulses.
And that brings us to the final question, and this goes way beyond just trading. Think about it. In the moments that really matter in your life, when the pressure is on, are you operating from a system, from a pre-committed plan based on your principles, or are you just reacting based on impulse? The answer to that question might just explain a whole lot.